Yo, what's up everybody, it's BMilitant, welcome to the channel. Today I have my tips and tricks video for PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds. Whether you guys are a new player or a veteran player like myself, I promise you're going to leave this video learning something new. Alright guys, before we go ahead and jump into the game, we need to go over some basics. I know there's a lot of people coming over from console just to play this game, and it doesn't matter how many tips or tricks that I give you guys. If you don't feel comfortable in the game, and the game doesn't run as smooth as it should, you're not going to do very well. So the first thing you need to do is you need to go up here to the settings tab, and you need to go through your graphical settings. These are all pretty much personal preference. I run most of my stuff on low, except for textures and view distance, even though I have a really good computer, just because this game isn't very well optimized yet, and you want to get the most FPS in the game while you're in a gunfight. Next, you guys want to come over to the control tab. This is really important because this is where you get to see and alter all of your sensitivities so that you can make your aim more on point in the game. You also get to see your key bindings and change all your key bindings to make the game more fluid to you. You also get to learn more about the game, like that there's a walk button in the game, which this is the most silent you can be while also moving in the game. You also want to take notice of the unarmed key. This is really important because the fastest that you can run in the game is while you are unarmed. If you want to put away your gun and run faster, say you're getting damaged by the force field and you want to just make it to the middle of the circle and then heal yourself, and you want to get out as quick as possible, use the unarmed key and get there as fast as possible. This is also important because say you're inside of a house. You can put away your gun, walk up to the windows, punch the windows out, and you'll see much more clearly through them then. Also, if you're too close to a window that's still there, and you try to aim, it'll stop your gun from aiming properly. If the window is gone, you also get to take much more advantage of the third person peeking in this game. You get to use your third person camera and see much, much further around the corners. Okay guys, the next thing you're going to want to do is make yourself familiar with the map. You can do this simply by just playing the game, or another good way is by watching people play the game. There's also websites like this one, which is an interactive map where you can examine the map more, and they also show you where typical car spawns are, where boat spawns are, and where high loot areas are. I will put this map in the description for you guys to check out. Two of my favorite places to land on the map is the school, which is in the very center of the map, and also the hospital, which is on the left side of the map. Both these places have so much loot that it does draw some attention to other players, but if you kill one or two people off, then you have the entire place to loot by yourself. This is important because you can get so much gear here that you'll be ready to fight endgame. That means you don't have to stop along the way to all these other little smaller buildings looking for extra loot where there could be someone just sitting there waiting to kill you. Also, I like the school because I would say about 80% of the time if you land here, you're already in the first circle. This is important because you get to loot freely and you don't have to worry about moving to the next circle. Now let's literally dive into the game. When you're on the airplane, you're going to want to mark your destination on the map. That way, if you jump out of the airplane and you get spun around, you can use the marker on the top of your screen. That way you save precious seconds because when you're parachuting in, you want to be the first one on the ground and pick up a gun first. Now that you're flying through the air, you want to use one of two techniques. You either want to be looking extremely up at the sky, or you want to be looking extremely down at the ground. Looking all the way up at the sky, that's how you go as far as possible, and you also can travel about 1 block's distance on the map. If you're looking all the way down at the ground, holding forward and also holding shift, you gain momentum, and it's the fastest you can go. And when you also hit where your parachute releases, it also gives you this bounce, which also gives you an advantage because it pushes you forward and gives you momentum going quicker to where you want to go. There's one more parachuting technique which will make you go farther than everybody else, and that is the rocking technique. If you're in your parachute and you're looking straight down at the ground and you're holding W and you're looking down and you release W and you let your player level back out flat, and then you press forward again and look back down at the ground and you keep doing that over and over, you'll notice that you gain momentum and you can go even farther than normal. A tip about cars is that all the cars that spawn on the map spawn facing east. The only exception to this rule are the cars that spawn in garages, and this is a really important tip because say you're walking up to a group of houses and you see a car outside, you can check and see if it's facing east. If it's not facing east, that means it's been touched by a player and there's probably someone there. Another thing is, I'm sure all the H1Z1 players have found out by now, you cannot jump out of a car while moving. You'll either kill yourself or highly damage yourself. So now you guys are on the ground and you want to start looting. This is a basic setup that you want to have before you get to endgame and fight. You basically want to have at least level 2 everything. You want to have level 2 helmet, backpack. Here I have a level 3 vest. And also, guns in this game shoot much different. What I mean by that is you want to have an assault rifle and you want to have a submachine gun, or you want to have an assault rifle and a shotgun. That's because assault rifles, they shoot good at long distances, but they are not as good as submachine guns or a shotgun while you're inside of a house. On your assault rifle, you're going to want to have at least a 4x scope or better. That way you can actually reach out and touch people at range with it. And for the submachine gun, you want a red dot or something closer for when you're inside of a house or something. There's two different types of foregrips in this game. I prefer this one, which is the vertical foregrip. What that does is it gives you stability up and down, but the other foregrip is the angled foregrip, and that gives you less stability, but it also gives you up and down and left and right. Something that happens all the time when I'm streaming and people ask me questions about the game, they ask me what gun is the best gun in the game, and my answer to that is any gun that has a silencer. The silencer is really, really good to have in this game because it's hard to pinpoint where you're getting shot at when someone's using a silencer. There's also another tip that you guys can do is, say you're shooting at someone with a silencer and they run behind a tree just to get cover. If you start shooting both sides of the tree and they keep hearing shots or they keep seeing shots hit the ground near them or hit the tree near them, they'll keep scooting out from behind the tree because they still feel and doubt that they're behind cover and they think that they're still getting shot at. So then you can make them peek from behind the tree or behind the cover because they feel like they're still getting shot at and they don't know where you're shooting them from. So now let's go over here to some of the items. This is basically the loadout that you're going to want to run. I always run about 2 first aid kits and 10 bandages. Some people like to do more than this, but to be honest with you, if you have 2 first aid kits and 10 bandages, you should be able to take a few shots and kill the person that's shooting at you and use your bandages and first aid kits, and you should be able to loot that person that you killed to get all that stuff back. You shouldn't have to run through 10 bandages or more just to kill one person and get their stuff. Anytime you find a med kit, you're definitely going to want to pick it up. It's the only item in the game that gives you full health 100% using only one item. You're going to want to leave a lot of room for painkillers and energy drinks. These really help you, especially near end game. That's why you don't want to pick up too many first aid kits or bandages, because it'll leave you with less room for the painkillers and the energy drinks. And also you want to have at least around, I like to keep around 200 rounds for each weapon that I have. That seems to be the sweet spot. So that way, like I said, you're going to want to be able to pick up as many painkillers and energy drinks because you're going to live off of that near the end game. It also gives you the speed boost and the health boost. That really helps you at end game. That way you can take an extra shot or two. Next thing you're going to want to talk about is the levels of the helmets and the body armor. Just because I have a level 3 body armor, that does not mean that I can take, it's the way that it works is, say you have a level 1 body armor and compare that to a level 3. The only difference is the durability. If I get shot in the chest while I'm wearing a level 3 vest, I'm going to take as much damage as if I got shot in the chest when I had a level 1 on. That's just because you're still going to take the same damage. They stop the same damage and give you, the same health. But the thing is durability. If I get shot 2 times or 3 times or however many times it takes and I have a level 1 vest on, it'll break off and be gone after that. But if I have a level 3 vest on, I can take more shots before it gets knocked off of me and goes away. It's the same with the helmets. Another few key things we want to talk about here is the frying pan. In this update, I don't really like it, but as of right now, frying pans stop bullets. So anytime you find a frying pan, you're going to want to pick it up so that way it's on your back and hopefully it'll stop some bullets. The ballistic mask that they just added into the game, that's just cosmetic. It doesn't do anything. Also, you notice I don't have any shoes on. That's because right now it doesn't really hinder how fast you run. And also, at least to me on my screen, it seems like when you're not wearing shoes, you make the footsteps that you make are much quieter than if you have shoes on. Also, hopefully on other people's screens, even if they do hear your footsteps, but they don't hear your shoes and they hear your feet, it's a little bit odd, and hopefully it gives you a little bit more of a split second to react to them or something like that, and gives them less time to react because they don't notice they're not used to hearing that sound because most everyone uses shoes. So if they hear the pitter-patter of your feet and they're like, hold on, wait, what is that? I don't recall that sound. That's not a sound that I hear all the time. So that's another reason why I don't use shoes as of right now. Something else you want to do is you always want to have at least one smoke. At first when I started playing this game, I didn't really notice it, but smokes come in really big handy, especially if you're playing duos or something like that, because you can throw a smoke down right next to your downed opponent, and it gives you cover while you go out and you pick them up. Also, smokes could be very useful if you want to go get the care package that falls from the sky. You can throw the smoke at the care package, and hopefully it gives you more time to loot freely and not be sniped at a far distance because you have somewhat cover. My last tips about inventory are, say you have an item that goes on your gun. You don't have to drag and drop the item onto your gun. You can simply right click on it and it'll instantly send it to your gun. While looting dead bodies in this game, you want to go as fast as possible. Dragging and dropping items from the dead body to your backpack is the quickest way to loot. That's because if you click on the items on the dead body, it triggers a loot animation where your player bends over and picks up the loot and wastes time. Now say you're out in the field and you're kind of out in the open and it's kind of sketchy and you're looting a dead body, you can have your inventory up and move around and wiggle around a little bit. That way you can't get headshotted as easy and you make yourself a harder target. Okay guys, this video is getting kind of long, but that's because this game has a really steep learning curve and I have a lot of tips for you guys. I wanted to make this video in sequential order, as in you're in the plane and you dive out and then you go from there. But right now I'm just going to start going through the most important tips first. So what's the most important tip I have for you guys? Obviously that's how to win a game. Very rarely in this game you get handed a win easily. You're going to have to set yourself up to win, and you do that by positioning. You put yourself in position to win. In order to do that, you need to be thinking ahead of the enemy. You also need to be positioning yourself before the enemy. Between alpha, beta, and now early access, I probably have over 400 hours in this game. And what's the objective of this game? Get to the circle. I would actually add to that, in most case scenarios, you want to get to the center of the circle. You do this by constantly paying attention to your map when the circle's about to change. You make a plan of action right away to get to the center of the circle, and do that before all the other lackadaisical enemies do. Now we're about to look at an example of why in most case scenarios you want to get to the center of the circle. So you guys can see in this example, I'm already near the center of the circle. I did this because I was paying attention to when the circle hit last time, and then I saw that in this circle there's a group of buildings here pretty close to the center as I can get. And then I moved my team here to a good group of buildings in the center and got a good defensive position. And you'll see why that pays off, because I would say about 60 to 70 to 80% of the time in the next circle, it's going to be bam. The next circle happens and we're still near the center of the circle. What this means is we can sit here in this building that we took and we have cover and we can just play defense. We don't need to go from building to building, and we don't need to get caught out in the open. This game is all about not getting caught out in the open and moving smartly from position to position and having cover. Now, my teammate and I, we are in a building that we chose. We thought it was one of the better buildings here near the center of the circle, and we played defense. Now, what this is important is because now I'm going to show you a little overlay that I made, and you see it right here on the screen. This center here, this is where you want to be. You want to be here in the center of the circle. If there's buildings near the center of the circle, like there is in this example, you want to take one of these buildings. You want to be as close to the center of the circle as possible in most case scenarios. That way, you can just play defense. Now, on the outskirts of the circle, I have this also in a lighter blue. This is also where you want to be in some scenarios. This gray zone right here is what I call the danger zone. You never want to be in the danger zone. This danger zone, like I said, you don't want to be caught out in the open in this game. People like myself here in the center of the circle, and I have cover, right? I'm going to be looking outwards. I'm just going to be sitting here playing defense. I don't need to go anywhere. I don't need anything. I'm not going to be running out anywhere. I'm already in the center of the circle. I've already been here in the center of the circle, so I'm just playing defense. Now, the reason that you don't want to always be on the outskirts of the circle is because say you come in to this outside of the circle, right? And you can easily shoot into the danger zone, and you can kill people that are out here in the gray area, the danger zone. But the thing is, you still need to be worried about when the zone comes and everything. You can be out here in the outer circle, but you also need to be worried about behind you. You could be out here on the outside of the circle shooting inwards and shooting and killing people that are here in the danger zone, the gray area. You can easily be shooting these people, but also someone easily could come from behind you in the blue zone or whatever, or shoot you from outside of the circle right around here. They're outside of the circle and they could still shoot you while you're looking into the gray area. You need to still be worried about your back out here. Now, if you take the center of the circle, obviously this isn't exactly center, but it's pretty close to the center, and there's a good chance that even in the next circle, we might still be in the next circle, which means we are not moving. We are not driving a car, or we're not running across this open gray area, which is the danger zone. If you're in the danger zone, you're getting shot by people like me shooting out from the center and shooting you, and you're also getting shot by people on the outskirt who are just going to play the gas. They're just going to play the blue zone, and they're shooting out into the circle. That's why you always want to get to the center of the circle. Now, let's say there aren't these group of buildings. Where I'm at right here, this green circle here, there are no buildings here, and all this out here in the open in the danger zone, all this is just just flat open land, and there's no buildings, there's no cover. That means you actually do want to be out in this lighter teal blue area. That's the situation when you do want to camp the gas, when you do want to play the edge of the circle. If there's no cover out here in the center of the circle, there's no buildings, there's nothing for cover, you don't want to be out there. That means all of this is the danger zone. That's what the actual situation when you do want to camp the outskirts of the circle, and then when the next circle happens, you want to keep playing the edge of the circle. That way you keep as many people in front of you and not behind you as possible. Sure, there could still be that threat of people coming in from behind you, but it's not as much as if you're in the center of the circle and you don't have any cover like these buildings. But as I'm showing you in this situation, most of the time you always want to center yourself in the center of the circle, because as I just showed you before, this is the circle before, and I was paying attention beforehand, and I saw that these buildings are near the center of the circle. That means there's a great chance, a pretty good chance that, hey, as you see, the next circle, I'm still in the center. I do not have to move. I can play defense. I can shoot out of this building. I can shoot out of these windows, shoot anyone that's trying to come into the danger zone to me. Or even if they drive a car from the teal side and they come through the danger zone, driving the car, and they drive up to my building, guess what? I see them before they do it, and I also hear them. I'm still playing defense. It's your best case scenario. If you do get caught in the danger zone, or let's say it's near the end of the game and the circle's small enough to where all the bushes and grass render in for everyone on their screen, I'll be hiding in a bush and I'll see someone run right by me and pass up 10 different bushes just to get to the first tree, and they'll get shot before they get there. Hiding in bushes is actually super underrated at times. You'll watch enemies scanning around looking for you, and they'll look right past your bush because they're looking at trees and rocks, things that'll stop bullets, and they just don't expect you to be there. The next tip is about alt looking. Let's say you are in a bush, or you're laying down and you're using your alt look to third person look around and scan for other enemies, and you don't want your player to fidget or move around when you release your alt look. All you need to do is right click on your mouse and it'll center your screen, and then you release your alt look button, and then you release your third person scope in button, and your player will never move. These next tips are going to show you how to stalk players. It's going to show you where they've been, which direction they're headed, and where they're at. If you walk up to a building in this game and the doors are open, pay attention to which way the doors are facing. Almost every time you open a door in this game, you push the door, so you push it away from you. If you look at the building and you see that one of the doors is facing outwards, away from the building, you can tell that's the way that the person left the building, and that building has probably already been looted because the door is open on the outside. Now that you know which direction they left that building, you look in that direction for the next closest building. Check the front door, is it pushed inwards? Check the back door, is it pushed outwards? Then you keep following the directions over and over until you either hear the person walking around inside of a building, or you find a building where the front door is pushed open but the back door is not opened yet. then you probably know which building they're in. This is the same reason why I like to close all the doors in the house. If I'm camping inside of a house and I'm in the center of the circle or something like that, I go downstairs and I close all the doors in the house. That way, if someone runs up to my building and they see all the doors shut and they open up a door and they get inside and they see all the other doors are shut, they might make more noise and they might think no one's there. It just catches them more off guard. If I'm just going through a house quickly and just looting and then I'm going to leave, I like to just close the outside doors, not all the doors inside, so that way you just keep going quickly. In Battlegrounds, swimming under the water is much faster than swimming on top of the water. This is really important because, say the blue zone is coming, you might die by swimming on top of the water rather than swimming under the water and going much faster. Also, if you're under the water, you cannot get hit by bullets. You will take no damage from bullets. Also, on a side note, you can loot care packages if they fall into the water. We've talked about this earlier, but in this game you die very quickly. This means if you can help it, you never ever want to get damaged by the blue zone, by the force field. This means if you come out of the force field, you could be one-shotted instead of 3 or 4 shots to die. You always want to be at 100% health. Even if you're only missing like 10% of your health and you only have 1 energy drink, use it. You always want to be at 100% health the next time you get into a gunfight because, like I said, you die so quickly. You don't want to save that energy drink and die with it on your body. You want to always make sure that every single gunfight you get into, you're at 100% health. If you ever find yourself in a situation where you and your enemy both know where each other are, and you want to make an advancement on this player, wait for the plane sound, it's really loud, or wait for the bombing sounds to mask your footsteps. Boats are pretty underrated in this game, especially at the beginning of a match. If you jump down and you find a boat, you can drive it to the opposite side of the map where someone could not have gotten there from parachuting, and you have a safe place to loot. I try not to prone as much as I can in this game because you're an easy target to get headshotted. Even if the enemy is walking around and moving, you're still a sitting duck. If you find yourself pinned down or have absolutely nowhere to go, I found that laying down in between the wheels of a buggy is actually a pretty good spot if you're in a jam. If you put an extended mag onto your gun, remember you always have to reload to apply the extended mag. Lastly, I have a tip for you guys that you can use in pretty much any shooting game. Try to stop and take a tactical pause while you reload. Last thing you want to do is keep moving forward while you're reloading and walk around a corner and then there's the enemy while you're reloading. I hope you guys learned something today. I'm pretty much making this video because I know this game has a really steep learning curve and I'm just trying to help people out while also make some content for my YouTube here. I would really appreciate it if you guys could like the video and also share it with a friend who plays this game so maybe they could learn something as well. Thank you guys for watching. I'm BMilitant. Peace out.